I can't believe I had to re-record the beginning again because my microphone decided it was just going to stop in the middle and I was unaware of it. Lovely. So if the angles are a little different, that would be why. Hello everyone, author DL Tillery here, the Mistress of Horror. Welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, but you press the subscribe button and ring that bell so you know when I'm uploading new videos. I'm going to jump right into what my gathering of things that I've done for 2024. This is a compilation video of my 2024 and going into 2025 of what I'll be doing on the channel and writing and etc. But I wanted to start off with the books that I released in 2024, which wasn't a lot. Granted, I tend to focus on the projects that I want to release for that year, and usually it's going to maybe be one or two, though next year sounds a lot more than that, and 24 was actually planned to be more than that. What I released was my dark romance poetry collection, Thorns of My Heart, and it was a collection of 100 poems in the book. It did decent for its release. I ran through all the channels, beta readers, ARC readers. I made the cover for this particular book because I have been training myself to do book cover design for like 2 years before I decided to try to make my own covers. That being said, that's where Thorns My Heart, that was released early in the year. It did decent enough as far as my opinion, as far as a poetry collection is concerned. Thorns My Heart then did very well. I enjoyed the release for that. Then Caliostro was the next thing that I released, and I did everything I could for Caliostro. I knew I needed to have a heavy marketing behind it, but I knew I wasn't going to have the funds for that. So the release was going to be what it was, and it's in the dark fantasy category. It is falling under also dark fantasy romance because there is romance in the book and in the series, and it is prominent in the story, but it is not the main focus. But in the first book, it is important to the line of where the story goes, so it is prominent in the book one, which is fine if it falls under that. I'm not necessarily advertising it 100 on that. I'm leaning into it a little because it is prominent more in book one. Not that it's not in book 2 and 3, but it changes a little bit. That being said, the release was what I expected to be. I did a Kickstarter for Caliostro very specifically. And so it technically sold about 20 something copies from the Kickstarter, because the Kickstarter was a small Kickstarter, but it funded. And then those people, all the 20 something people, got copies of Caliostro. A few of them have done reviews for Caliostro. Literally, I think 3 of the people who left reviews so far were Kickstarter backers, and which is good. That's what I was hoping for in that instance. And that's still within the first week of it coming out. It had at least 3 reviews on it. It's up to 4. I think it's up to 4 reviews right now. It is if you buy the paperback, it's about 400 and something pages, because I gave 3 bonus stories in the back of the book, which was the companion. One is the companion novel that I wrote for the Kickstarter based for Caliostro. And then I put 2 more short horror tales in the back that are based in Caliostro's world. Caliostro's world is a dark world. It is dark fantasy. It is have romance in it, but it is still connected to horror because that's what dark fantasy is. So you will get different genres within Caliostro's world, mostly horror, dark fantasy, maybe just fantasy. There will be some instances of that, but all connected to that world. So those 3 bonus stories in the back are in the printed version. If you get the only ebook version, only bonus story you get is La Draga, which is horror. It's a monster horror short story. So you get an incentive if you buy the paperback or hardback of Caliostro. I have different versions of it out there. If you buy it on Amazon, then it has the Amazon version of the paperback and the Amazon version of the hardback. If you buy a hardback from me, then it is the special dust jacket edition of the book, which also has special headers in the book and a map in the hardback. The paperback of the version I have also has it's a special edition because it has special headers within the book for the Caliostro story that I could not put in the Amazon version because Amazon's bleed was giving me issues, like big time issues. Nonetheless, that's what I released for 2024. The next thing I wanted to go over about 2024 is that what I wrote, I didn't write a lot, clearly, except for things that I did release, which was Winter Wolf. I finished Obsessed, which I put in back to Caliostro. Ladrega had been done. I'm going to release Obsessed and Ladrega and Winter Wolf separately next year, but I have things planned for release for next year. I cover that later in this episode. But I also wanted to read a good amount this year, but I only got to read like around 20 something different books. 19 of those were digital, which I will show here as much as I can because it's a good amount for screen, but they'll be small. But I did manage to read, as my Kindle said, about 19 books there, but I read some physical books, so it's probably pushing me around the 20 something, which is much less than my number was in 2022. And I think it's double in 22 what I read, but my schedule has become even more tight because the heavy work that I have, and I homeschool my daughter, which I was then, but as she gets older, it changes. So I'm trying to balance all these different things that I have to do, plus my writing career. Even though it's a part-time writing career, I still take it very seriously, as I take everything that I do very seriously. So it's something to try to balance all these different things, and also to do marketing for your side businesses like this is. I did pertain to start a a design business as far as like doing book covers and just advertising materials for authors and things like that, because I've done it all for myself for a long time. I also used to run a business where I did web design for a while, so I am also good at that. But I will see in 2025 I boost that back up, since I am better at making book covers now. So I thought about offering that. I did put myself on Fiverr for a little bit to try to do book covers, but Fiverr's iffy. So I may make a group on Facebook or something, because those tend to do decent, and offer my pre-made book covers and some custom work. But we'll see if my schedule allows to fit that type of business. And 2025 is going to bring a lot of different stuff. So that's what I did for 2024 as far as writing. I have projects that are outlined that I'm going to be working on in 25, and that would be my romance work and more my horror work, because I do point out that I am a multi-genre author. Hence, also talking about my releases that I've done, which fall under horror, dark fantasy, and even poetry. When I say, and my brand is, I am the mistress of horror. My slogan is, I am married to all the other dramas, but I am the mistress of horror. Meaning, I will write in all the other dramas, but I will always be the mistress of horror, and things have the taste of darkness when I put them out. But that does not mean they don't fall in other genres. Every time I release something, people seem not to be listening 100% to what I'm saying here. I write horror. That does not mean that's all I write. I'm pretty adamant about that. My brand is adamant about that. I have a dark incline. It does not mean that's all that it is. A dark incline, it does not mean that that's all there is to it. I don't really know how else to explain that to people. I know what even some people who are talking about Caliostro, they're like, oh, she writes horror. I clearly state that I'm a multi-genre author. I know sometimes you're like, well, maybe you should have just focused on it. No, that's not who I am. So I don't know I'm not that in any instance. I'm not a one-track pony on any instance of myself at all. I'm even a multicultural person. So even my DNA background is of multiple different things. So when we go into my writing, into my genre, that also falls into that and fits that mold. So once again, when I write works, do not assume that is just horror straight up. Horror is also too layered to just throw it under that one banner, and people will think that everything's like, God, my release is going to be super scary. Also, my thing that I like to tell people is to stay scared. That's my thing. But okay. that with Caliostro is a great example of this. It's dark fantasy. Are people hearing the fantasy? I'm not sure. Then it has romance in it too. It's not just going to be scary. I'm just letting you know that. Also, everyone's layer of in instance of scared is different. Also, horror again is layered, so there are more aspects and points to horror than just you happen to be overly frightened or something like that. It can be a very uncomfortable situation that frightens you, but it may not frighten another person. So to them, that might not be considered horror. But one thing I wanted to touch on before I jump into the book haul that's in this video is I wanted to touch on what I'm going to be reading and what am I doing in January. January is packed with a few different things. I do have events that I'm going to be a part of in 2025. I did do the Right Now a Thon, which is happening today. It was a 3-day event, so it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you want to go back and watch the streams, they are long streams because everything happened on the one channel. Then please do. It is very interesting. Actually, someone won a copy of Caliostro that I gave away, a digital copy of it. But it's a very cool event. This is the first year, as far as I'm aware, and I'm on one of the discussion panels. I wasn't able to teach a workshop this year at it, but I didn't get it in time. But please check out the discussion. Please check out the stream for today. It is already going on the time this video came out, probably coming to the end of the event the time this video releases today. But I hope you enjoy Right Now a Thon, and I will link Jarrett's video below, the one who's in charge of Right Now a Thon, and my links down here in the description. And the events that I'm starting with in January is a streaming event called the AuthorTube and BookTuber under 1K subscribers marathon. So I'm going to be a part of that because I am starting back streaming again because I am writing a lot of stuff this year and putting out a good amount of works. So this was a good way to start back into that. And I will be doing that. That's between the 12th and 19th of January, and I'll be streaming on the 12th and on the 18th, I believe, are the dates that I'm streaming on, and they are evening streams, except for I think the 18th one is 4 to 6. So pop by my channel. If you check my live section, the 2 links are already up for you to press reminder, which I recommend doing so that way you won't forget. And once I have the playlist for everyone's streams for that event, I will put it in this video and I will put it in my upcoming videos as well. The next event that I'm looking forward to doing is one by Regina St. Clair. She did say in her video the other day that she's going to be doing the Gothic Hearts Reading Challenge again, which I was a part of the last 2 events of that. And E.D. Lewis and Aphrodite Lee, and I think Dahlia D. Winters as well. And I think Elizabeth Stagewood did it at least with us 1 or 2 times. But I'm going to be doing that one again for sure because I really love that one. And there is the AWC, which I am applying for in about a week because I think the applications close on the 15th. I had some people, since I'm doing a panel, I had people that I had to get in touch with. I have to mention them in the submission, so I have to confirm them. So I'm trying to really get everybody confirmed, but that's not always the easiest thing because everyone's busy. So I just have to try to get a few more people confirmed that I had planned to invite to on the panel, and then I'm going to submit for the AWC. I'm making an event for near Halloween time that's werewolf based, which I hope people get interested in doing. I'm also doing a Caliostro tag, so hopefully people will jump on that train. That'd be really cool. I'm going to probably do some more tag videos, but I'm going to make my 3rd Sunday in the month is going to be my review show. I'm going to go back to reviewing books. I have been doing it because I've reviewed Dale L. Roberts' book series that he's been releasing as nonfiction for self-publishing authors. And I've loved that series. It's helped me so much. And he has another one coming out soon. I believe in January, February, and I'm on the art team, so I'll be doing a video review for that and the physical review, written review. So I look for that, and it's a bunch of books that I want to read. So let me just jump into that real quick. In January, I have a focus on indie authors that are on YouTube, AuthorTube, and Regina St. Clair is leading that because I have quite a few of her books that I didn't get to finish. And I love her work, the ones I have read. So I'm going to focus on her stuff that I have started and also need to read off of my TBR list. So Regina, Ben Pick, and Dahlia D. Winters. I'm going to be reading their stuff that I missed that I want to finish. Ben Pick, I started his series and I didn't get to finish the last book. So I'll be doing reading of that as well in January. And the video reviews will be coming. I may release some that's not just on Sunday because I may have a good amount. But I want to do video reviews as well besides my written reviews if I can. So I will be mentioning Regina's books. She released 2 that I haven't read yet, but I purchased. And there's one that I was in the middle of reading that I didn't get to finish because my schedule just took over completely. It's Code Red. I still have to finish that one, which I was really enjoying. It's vampire stuff. So that review will be coming. So January is going to be a lot of more reading for me than I usually get to do. I'm going to make a schedule to make sure I get it done because I have to make schedules to get stuff done because I have so much things that I do. So that is my January as far as the event and as far as writing, because that's why I'll be streaming, because I'll be writing and working. So I hope you join me if you're working on anything, editing, drawing, writing, whatever. You could join reading, like myself. I need to probably be doing both of those for those streams. But again, check my descriptions of my videos because I usually, if I'm doing an event, I will link that in my videos. Also, of course, Dale L. Roberts falls on the list of books that I'll be reading because I am on our team and I do book video reviews for his when I do his books because it is informative to let other people know of stuff that can help us self-published authors. And yeah, that's where my January is going to lead into 2025. I'm going to be a busy bee because I'm also starting another business, which is a snack-based business. And that's going to be something. Like, how are you going to add one more thing to your plate? That's just how it is. If you want to do well, you have to go out and get it. That's what you got to do, you know? So Caliostro book 2 will be coming in 2025 near the end. That one's almost done. I just have to, of course, get the cover artist to work on the new cover, which is expensive. And then stuff will start falling into place for that. Room Within sequel, Trapped Within, will be coming out this year. Also, my short horror collection is based in Caliostro mythos. Beyond the Veil collection will be coming out. That's the plan. I'm not going to give any dates because, again, I don't I don't know if, dates sometimes don't work out. So I don't want to give any dates for sure until I'm 100 on those. So that's something. But yeah, that's pretty much my 2024 as far as my channel and as far as that. You may see a slight schedule change. I'm going to add my streaming stuff, so I'm thinking Sundays and Wednesdays for my streaming days. Because I want to start streaming more. You have 20 hours through StreamYard to stream, so I'm going to utilize that because my streams usually run about 2 or 3 hours each time. So I'm going to at least utilize that time. But again, look at the rest of the video because now it's time for the book haul portion of this video. I'm going to pull up each book. These are physical books that I got from this book haul, and I have to show you each one here. So we're going to start with the paperbacks. Yeah, they're on top. So I went to what's it called? Wonder Books. I went to Wonder Books to treat myself. I actually did the order online for my birthday, and I picked it up. So I had to drive a little bit to get to it, but it was a little bit cheaper to do that than to pay for the like $20 shipping to my house. So I took the hit of driving, even though technically I guess it's still a little bit of money for gas wise, but it wouldn't have been as much as the shipping. So the first book up is Never Been Bit, and it is a vampire novel. This glare is like for real. But you can see the picture here. This is by Linda Dare. I've never read anything from her before, but I was looking for vampire novels that day, and this came up. This one sounded really good. Wickedly sensual, it says on the front. Here it says, Alec McCreary's afterlife has become an endless search for pleasure in an effort to overcome his heartbreak and despair. Wandering through the seedy world of London's domain, he's changed into a dark and fearsome creature even he doesn't recognize until he stumbles into a magical lass he knew once upon a time and sees a glimpse of life he could have had. So that's part of the blurb on the back. Sounded interesting enough, so I decided to grab it and check it out. Next up is Wolf Under Fire by Paige Taylor. This one is a werewolf one, if you couldn't tell. And I guess the supernatural and the dude is like, look like it's some kind of espionage or something in here. So let's just read the blurb. It says, supernatural creatures are no longer keeping their existence secret from humans, causing panic around the globe. To investigate, monitor, and, when necessary, take down dangerous supernatural offenders, an international task force was established, a special threat assessment team. Stat agent Justine Redley is in London with her team investigating a suspicious kidnapping. Over her radio, Jess hears her teammates being savagely attacked. She runs to help, but she's too late. The only survivor, Jess, calls for backup and gets former Navy SEAL and Alpha werewolf Jack Hong and his new pack. Sounds interesting. Convinced that the creature who butchered her teammates was a werewolf, Jess doesn't trust them. But if they're going to uncover the facts and make it back home alive, she'll need Jack's help. Jack, I think it's Jake's help. And with everything online, Jess will have to accept Jake for who he is or lose the partner she never expected to find. Yeah, so this is right on my alley. It's werewolves, it's mystery, espionage, and the Asian men. So it's a win-win for me in this category. So I was very interested to check this out. I also have never read anything from Paige Taylor, and obviously a New York Times USA bestseller author. So I haven't heard of this author. So I'm very curious to find out about this. And when I read it, I will make sure I leave a review. Now, this next author is an author that I get books from all the time. I have quite many of her ebooks, but I don't have any of her physical books, which I plan to buy because so this is the first physical book of hers that I own. It's Kira Lake. Ooh, that ring light. At Kira Lake. Nocticidia, I believe it's called. And the font on here is so not good because you can barely read it, but it's a font choice. This is a little blurry because I have this on portrait video. But Nocticidia. Um, but the book is beautiful, obviously. But I love Kira Lake. I have read quite a few of her books, and I'm still reading more. This is a series, I believe, and this is book one. This actually didn't come out that long ago, or people were just really getting into it. Read it. It's obviously dark romance. So I'll be really getting into this as I'm very curious about it, and it's thick. Look, I'm not gonna lie, it is. Like, I don't know how many pages this is, and she used white pages in this. That's crazy. It's about 600, over 600 some pages. This book is almost 700 pages. Okay, and she did white pages. That's different. You don't see that too often. Usually it's cream. But anyway, I'm looking forward to reading Nocticidia. At least I'm saying that right. Hopefully, I love the cover because it's skulls and flowers and butterflies. Like, how could I not? Right? Some of my favorite things all together on a cover. But yeah, so this is another physical one I got. It was on sale during Christmas, so I got it um on Black Friday. I know it wasn't Black Friday. Oh, when it was like into early December, but they had like special sales running, and I grabbed myself a copy of the paperback of this, but it's a thick one. All right. And it's got some Latin on the back here. It says, "The dead teach the living. After watching my mother succumb to a mysterious illness, I promised myself two things. I'd find the cure for what ravaged her and leave the godforsaken city where she abandoned me. 4 years later, I received an acceptance letter from Dracadia, like Dracula? Dracadia University, one of the oldest, most prestigious schools in the country, nestled on a secluded island off the coast of Maine. It rumored to be haunted by the souls of the mental patients exiled there centuries before, those whose bones are said to make up the island's white sandy shores. Ooh. And restless ghosts aren't even its most daunting part of it. Ooh. This is Layered already. Dervek Bramwell, known on campus as Dr. Death, well, that's nice, is a brilliant pathologist in charge of the Midnight Lab. He's also my devastatingly handsome professor, of course he is, who seems to loathe Tench's first years like me, except his dark, enigmatic gaze tells me all the ways he devour me if given the chance, and his stolen kisses burn my lips with forbidden jealousy. Oh my. I crave his authority, he aches for redemption. Together we're toxic, delicious spawner for the prying eyes, hell-bent on exhuming the rotted skeletons of our past. Ooh. For the dead have much to teach, and it's only a matter of time before Dracadia's most deprived secrets is resurrected. Well, that's a very thick blurb. Um, so that sounds very interesting and dark and sexy, actually. So I'll be reading that one definitely coming up in a couple months. Probably a February read since I'm focusing on the author tube indie authors first in January. So let's see what February brings of these physical books. Now on to the hardbacks. First up is one of the sprayed edge books that I got that I was really excited about, and this is by Harper L. Woods, US Today bestselling author. This is the Coven, and look at these sprayed edges. Roses. Roses, okay? And it's not a very thick book, which is like, that's right up my alley, I'm just saying. I think it's only about 289 pages or something like that. But yeah, so this series, I'll read the back because I have book 1 and 2. I'll always come for you, Witchling, he said, holding my stare for a moment. Those blue eyes glimmered with something that felt like more, stealing the breath from my lungs for a suspended moment in time. The gold seemed to flash, the twisted connection between us pulling taut. Then he ruined it, turning his stare away and touching the underside of my chin. Can't have you being the one to give me orders now, can I? I grimaced, the reminder serving its purpose, grounding me in the reality. Love wasn't in the cards for me, not with a witch, and definitely not with a vessel. We could and would work together, but this was nothing more than a business arrangement between two people who hated each other, even if we wanted to rip one another's clothes off. Okay, now, that's different for a blurb because it's more like part of the conversation in the book, which is an interesting take. I'm not against that. But this is book 1, and then book 2, which is also equally gorgeous with the sprayed edges. Book 2 is called The Cursed, and this has more of a purple color to it, and then the roses are purple all the way. Very pretty. So I'm really looking forward to reading book 1 and 2. Since I read the blurb on the back of book 1, I'm not going to read the blurb on the back of book 2. But anyway, moving on to the next hardback. You knew it had to be some Junji Ito in there. This is the newest Junji Ito that was out, besides the art book that came out. And this one is Mimi's Tales of Horror. So I didn't get to read this one yet or dig into it, but I will, because usually as I get Junji Ito books, I read them. This is not the only Junji Ito book I've purchased this year. I did mention it, one of the other books I've got this year that was his, in another video if you want to check my channel for it. But yeah, so I'm really excited to read this one. It's not an overly thick one because a lot of the Junji Ito collections, the bigger collections, are, beefier. But the newer ones, if you catch them when they first come out, usually aren't crazily big. I do have one pre-ordered that's coming out, the Luminol. 2, I have 1, so I'm waiting for 2 that releases, I believe, in June. I want to say June, but it might be before that, so don't get me to lying. All right, the next hardback up, that's from my Christmas books. This is book 1. Book 2 is not out. This is by K.A. Lindy, and this is The Warren in the Holly Library. So I love the cover. This is also a sprayed edge book. The sprayed edges are beautiful. And this one isn't just sprayed edges, okay? Give me a second, because I have to show you the actual hardback of the book because it's printed. Look, it's printed. I love when the hardback is printed. Obviously, I couldn't get this done myself because you have to go through like BookBall or something if you're an indie author for this to happen. So it's so pretty. I love that it's the print here, and look, the inside. there's artwork. There is artwork. I was like, yes, that is so pretty. It doesn't have like chapter headers or anything. And I'm sorry, my mic is probably rubbing. But there's artwork on both sides. It's the same artwork, but just, again, another shot. But yeah, so I was excited to get this one because I don't have many books like that. And who doesn't want to own those? They look gorgeous. So anyway, that was my pretty much books from Christmas time, except for the first two paperbacks, smaller paperbacks. Those were from my haul and for my birthday. But these are the rest of my birthday ones I'm about to show now. These are all graphic novels because I love graphic novels. And we have a Superman one in here. Even though I've read Superman, The Death of Superman before, I wanted to purchase like the graphic novel of it because I am a somewhat Superman fan. I'm a comic book head, of course, growing up. And I wanted to get another copy of this. And it's in great condition from Wonder Book. They do have some amazing things that's in good shape. So yeah, I was happy to get a copy of that. Then I was still looking for vampire as things, still looking for vampire stuff, and I got a copy of V Wars, Crimson Queen. So V Wars is if you don't know about V Wars, that is by Jonathan Mayberry. So vampire type wars going on. If you haven't read it, check it out. V Wars is very good stuff. Then I have. Oh, this one has a little weight to it. This one was a surprise. This is Kill Shakespeare. And I was like, what is that? I have to have it because it's Shakespeare, duh. So the artwork is really nice. It's a lot more colorful on the inside than I thought it would be. See? But yeah, I have not dug into this one. And this is by McCree, Del Cole, and B. Langer. That's the names at the top. So this one looks really interesting. They have a website called www.killshakespeare.com if you want to check it out. What fables does your fairy tales kill Shakespeare does with the greatest writer of all time? This dark take on Bard pits his greatest heroes, Hamlet, Juliet, Othello, and Falstaff, against his most menacing villains, Richard III, Lady Macbeth, Iago. And an epic adventure to find and kill a reclusive wizard named William Shakespeare. So this one sounds very interesting, to say the least. So I'm very excited to read that one. I will definitely have to leave a review once I read it because it's different, something I have not read before, and I am a Shakespearean fan. So next up is more vampire stuff. And look at this cover, like how shiny it is and matte in the center. This is 30 Days of Night. They didn't have all of them. I believe this is 7. So I just grabbed what they had online. So they had 7. I grabbed that one. These are the first physical ones I've read. I've owned, but I've read them, the digital, but I wanted to purchase the physical. So I finally started in on that. If you know about 30 Days of Night, there's a movie for it. 30 Days of Night. Check it out. It's very gruesome vampires. They are brutal, okay? As you can see how these vampires look, they're terrible, which is just great, actually. And then I have a second one, and this is the first volume, actually, because it says 30 Days of Night, and you can see similar to how they did the book cover, like they did the movie cover in one of the versions. But yeah, this one is... Whew. I'm sure this is probably what the movie is based off of. This one says printed in Korea, which is, oh, that's cool. This one is also in pretty good condition. So yeah, I'm looking forward to digging into these in a physical manner instead of just the digital versions of them. So that's all my book haul, because that's 12 books, including the graphic novels. So I'll straighten those up after the fact. But that's what I got for that. So I've covered everything. This is my year end. What's going on, what happened, what I'm going to be doing. I'm so pressed for time a lot of the time, so putting the video together, I was like last minute, like I gotta do the video that I plan to do, and I gotta get it recorded and done. I was going to do a split video where I was going to do just the book haul by itself, and I was going to do the end-year review. My end-year review is a little bit different than some people's. I did read and I did write. I wrote some stuff that's obviously not out yet. I am going to be stepping into my romance era for 2025. I will be releasing my first romance novel in 2025. I've been working on a few series, like prepping them. I will be working on writing the book that I want to release in 2025, but romance is on the way. And there is a project that I was a part of that should be releasing this year, 2025, but I don't want to speak too much on it, that I wrote stories for. We'll be seeing that coming out, and is under some of my other pens for that type of genre. But yeah, more to that coming. If you have not gotten my newsletter, or have not subscribed to my newsletter, I should say, then you could do that by checking the description below, because I release that once a month. It lets you know what I'm doing. I let you know in on little secrets and knowledge of monsters and creatures of the dark in my newsletter. Plus, if you are not subscribed already, when you do subscribe, you can download a free copy of Ladrega, which is one of the stories that's based in the Caliostro world for all your horror scaring needs. So I hope you do join my newsletter so you know what's going to be going on going forward, what I have going on currently, and getting a little bit of darkness in your blood. And I will see you in the next video, and Happy New Year. And of course, as always, stay scared.